Let's take you out to Drive Cam this morning. It looks like our Drive Cam was headed north on Southeast Street, but now we've gotten off on some of those side roads there, giving you a look at what some of the neighborhoods look like this morning. And this is much of what many of you are driving into as you head out of your driveway. Some roads on the main streets are very clear, but it's kind of tricky sometimes pulling out of your driveway and getting on this. We're glad you're up with us here on Thursday morning on 13 Sunrise. Bitter cold temperatures. We're used to being in the deep freezer by now.
Some of the hardest parts are getting out of the driveway
Yes.
and out of the parking lot, but a lot of times once you make that first step, roads are okay, roads are passable.
Yes, you're going to be able to get to where you need to go,
Yeah.
but you still have to watch out for those slick spots. And I think we have freezer burn.
I do.
At this
Yeah.
point. We all do.
Yeah.
We need some warmer air. We just don't have it maybe until next week, middle of next week. So the rest of this week, it's just day after that.
Okay.
It's the cold. All right, this is a live look in downtown Indianapolis, where we do have a few extra clouds passing on by higher up right now. Not a bad start, but we're now at 0. Okay, Julia and Samantha, I was talking about we were positive. Now we're right
We
there.
jinxed it.
We'll see what happens. We got down to -4 yesterday, which actually ties for the coldest morning of the winter so far for the 2025-2026 season. It's cold this morning. At least the wind's not crazy. That's one thing you'll notice. It's just straight up cold, but the air is a little bit more still this morning. But you get outside the city, we do have a lot of temperatures that are below 0. For example, the Falcons there in Winchester, -1, same in Anderson, Noblesville. The Millers are at -3, -7. In Lafayette, -9 for the Golden Bears, more like the Polar Bears this morning, -3 in Carmel and in Fishers. Avon, Brownsburg, -2, -7 in Zionsville. We're cold for the Eagles this morning, and the Owls and the Lions, I think, may be tied, unless I missed one, might be tied for some of the coldest temperatures in the state this morning. Congratulations. I'm not sure. Wind chills this morning, they're out there, but they're not nearly as strong as they were. We still have a lot of school alerts this morning. You're going to see them scrolling at the bottom of your screen too. A lot of these though are now 2-hour delays, some e-learnings, and there are a couple just straight up snow days. Coming up, we're going to be talking about our next cold front on the way. It's going to bring in more snow showers. You're going to see it, instead of blowing into Michigan, they're going to blow more towards Indiana. Some slick spots are possible. We'll time that out for you coming up here in a bit. But right now, I do need to get to traffic. We've got a developing situation where at times they're closing down the ramp from I-70 west to 65 north on the north side of the city. They may have just reopened it. It was getting crazy there for a second because some folks were trying to avoid the closure. They'd go down 65 here, but then they'd cut across through with this very heavy snow. Eventually, they actually brought a police cruiser and parked it so that folks would stop doing that. But now that they've been able to reopen a lane, they've moved that police cruiser, but there's still a car stuck there in what's called the Gore, where you have a couple feet of snow kind of in that in-between triangle area. Live look across central Indiana from Whitestown to Carmel to Plainfield and in Richmond. The interstates are doing okay, but we still do have, Samantha, some black ice reports.
All right, Matt, thank you. We do want to give you another live look this morning on our Drive Cam. Oh, this is a better shot here, making some progress down on the south side of Indianapolis. Again, those main thoroughfares are looking good. We just have to be mindful that they could still be extra slick this morning. So while roads certainly look better, the freezing cold is leading to many school delays, a few actually canceling again today too.
Deja vu it feels like, but sometimes that call to switch to a snow day is happening the morning of. Anna Chalker is joining us in studio with how some parents say getting that call so late is kind of frustrating. Should be made earlier, they're saying?
That's what they're saying. They're saying give us plenty of time here. And, you know, these families, they expected school to really kind of fluctuate this week from being canceled or delayed because of the weather. But we'll take this, for example, around this time yesterday, all of the major Marion County schools switched from that 2-hour delay notification they made the night before to e-learning in synchronous schedules. And some parents say that really just throws a wrench in the day. Many of the people we talked with say they were getting their kids ready for school when that new call came out, making them quickly search for backup childcare options. And for some, it's easy because they can work from home, but others don't have that ability. Parents say the qualification shouldn't just be about the road conditions, but for how cold it is and if kids have to stand outside or maybe wait on the bus. Now they say they're asking schools to make this call earlier so all families and kids are prepared.
We know the temperatures are going to be this way. Let's just be proactive and call it, because even any extra time really helps me and helps a lot of parents out there.
We have been keeping up with social media posts made by these districts for today. Not really any changes right now. Still saying 2-hour delays, but they will be out assessing this morning to see if they will need to cancel in their areas. Again, we've been checking right now, just still a lot more 2-hour delays than cancellations. A lot of our cancellations are more of our rural counties, rural schools. We'll probably see that again tomorrow as well. But there's a lot of questions still around this, including how and why these calls are being made so early in the morning, especially when we've got to get the kids ready. It's all around a state law here. So we'll kind of outline that one and kind of what this means for the parents.
I think it's a little more complicated than
It is.
what some people may realize.
A lot of layers.
Yes. Okay, we'll see you soon. Thank you.
A reminder this morning from the Shelbyville Fire Department, make sure you shovel around fire hydrants.
Crews spent part of yesterday digging out those hydrants that are still covered by snow. The department says hydrants should have a minimum of 3 feet cleared on all sides. It's also important to clean off the caps and outlets and to get a clear path from the street to that fire hydrant.
The fire department says that's critical to fast and effective fire protection. They have to get out and have access to that soon. We're approaching the end of this week, and many sidewalks in Marion County are still buried after Sunday's snow.
I've been seeing people walking in the street
because
the sidewalks are covered, and that can make it difficult and, of course, dangerous, too, if you do have to get out and about. But a local volunteer program is stepping in to help. This is called Snow Buddies. They connect volunteers with neighbors who can't shovel the snow on their own.
That could be because of age or a disability or any other limitation. One volunteer says it's just Hoosier hospitality in action.
I just go when I can. If they need it, I have the sidewalks covered, or if their sidewalks by their house are covered, then I make sure it gets done. I feel like it's important because these people are asking for help. They need our help. It's also important because these people can't really do it themselves.
NDDPW says keeping the sidewalks clear protects delivery drivers, postal workers, and anyone else that has to walk through your neighborhood.
So if you need help from this program, or if you would like to volunteer, we have that information right now at WTHR.com.
4 of the 5 people charged in the shooting of a Tippecanoe County judge and his wife, they're set to go on trial in May.
They made their first appearance in court yesterday. A special judge is now handling the case out of Cass County. Investigators say Thomas Moss connects everyone involved here. He was supposed to go on trial in Judge Steve Meyer's court 2 days after that shooting. Moss waived his right to an attorney and told the judge he wants to represent himself. The man charged in a 2020 kidnapping and murder in Kokomo is now on trial.
Our partners at the Kokomo Tribune report that the man Uriah Levy is accused of torturing testified yesterday. Levy is charged with murder, criminal confinement, and aggravated battery, and he's facing decades in prison if he's convicted in this case.
Police found Lachey Beard Young's body in the backyard of a house. They also found a witness tied up in a bathtub inside. He told police he had been there for several days. I want to show you video of where this happened. The witness told officers Levy and another man held and tortured him while he was being held inside. The other man involved was sentenced to decades in prison. A judge just found a man guilty of murder. Joaquin Harmon Segura will be sentenced next month. According to court documents, police found more than 30 bullet holes in a house near 21st and Midhofer. That was in March of 2024. Well, 25-year-old Adam Hart died in that shooting. Investigators say Hart was not even the intended target. 2 other suspects signed plea deals in that case. This morning, a controversial bill is moving through the State House that would create a military police force right here in our state.
It led to more than 2 hours of debate, and both sides of the aisle shared their views. Our Marina Silva is breaking that bill down for us in studio. Good morning, Marina. What are the key points here?
Well, good morning. This bill would create a state-controlled police force and give the governor the power to deploy it into any city or town. Now, under this bill, the Indiana National Guard could create its own military police force. Members would have full police powers after military and state law enforcement training. But unlike local police, the force would answer only to the state with no civilian oversight. Democrats call it one of the most dangerous bills they've seen. Well, the governor says it's about being prepared.
You send this force in, you're telling the people of Indianapolis or Kokomo or wherever, don't trust your local police. That is the message. They are inadequate, they are incompetent, and we're taking over.
And I think it's better to be prepared than not, to where you'd have to send in general guardsmen that weren't trained for that specifically, and other states have done it as well.
So Massachusetts passed a similar law after the Boston Marathon bombing. Now, because of the storm we had this week, deadlines are being pushed back. So the second and third reading deadlines are being moved to today and Monday. There's no session tomorrow. So some of the bills in the House have more times before they have to get voted on.
All right. Thank you, Marina. Well, as you just heard, the winter weather is also affecting the State House and some of the timelines there. Our partners at the Capitol Chronicle report that the House Ways and Means committees, the room that they normally meet in, sustained heavy snow damage, according to a representative.
Yeah, you can see some of the tarps over the electronics in that room. The committee was reportedly moved over concerns of the ceiling falling, too.
More calls for accountability this morning after the shooting of Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. The new instructions for ICE officers as operational leadership is changing hands.
And a key part of the Colts coaching staff could be on his way out, where Jim Bob Cooter could end up. That's coming up.